What if the secret to her heart isn't in what you chase, but in the man you become? As a young American philosopher, a fierce advocate for women's strength, and a storyteller weaving psychology with Stoic wisdom, I've seen how a quiet, unshakable spirit can turn a passing glance into a deep, enduring pull. This isn't about wealth, looks, or fleeting charm, it's about the profound power of serenity, self-discipline, and resilience, virtues that resonate with the battles women like Honor, a barista in Miami, or Leela, a teacher in Seattle, have fought to claim their own worth. Through real stories of women who've navigated life's storms, and the timeless lens of Stoicism, will guide you through 10 transformative ways to become a man she can't let go of, not by pursuing her relentlessly, but by standing tall in your own truth. But picture Maria, a nurse in Chicago, who couldn't shake the memory of her friend's steady calm, or Sophia, an artist in Brooklyn who found herself longing for her ex's unwavering depth. These women, shaped by a world that often demands they prove their value, reveal that true attraction grows from a soul-rooted purpose, a strength that mirrors their own resilience. Let's embark on this journey together, exploring these Stoic virtues as threads in a tapestry of connection, woven with patience, intention, and an inner fire. This is for the man who seeks not just her fleeting attention, but a bond that honors both your spirits, a partnership born of mutual respect, and a longing that echoes the quiet endurance women have carried through centuries. Each step forward is a chance to reflect their strength back to them, to become a presence they crave not out of need, but out of awe. Emotional control. Have you ever noticed how a storm can rage outside, yet a single steady breath can hold you firm within? Emotional control, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, isn't just about stifling feelings, it's about cultivating a profound inner calm that radiates outward, drawing women like Honor into its orbit. As a psychologist, I've witnessed how this virtue speaks to women who've spent their lives steadying themselves against life's chaos, seeking a partner who can mirror that resilience. Honor worked long shifts at her Miami CIF, her days a blur of spilled coffee and impatient voices. She met Carlos there, a regular whose presence was a quiet anchor. One evening, a customer snapped at her over a wrong order, her hands trembling as she tried to fix it. Carlos didn't jump in with loud words or flare with anger. He paused, took a slow breath, and offered a gentle smile as he helped her clean up. That moment stuck with her. She told me later, he didn't lose it like everyone else would. He was just there. For Honor, who'd grown up navigating a turbulent home, his calm wasn't just appealing, it was a lifeline, a promise of safety she'd rarely known. Leela, the Seattle teacher, felt this too with her sister Sarah. After a heated argument over family plans, Sarah didn't shout back or storm off. She stood still, breathed deeply, and said, "Let's talk when we're ready." Days later, Leela found herself missing that steadiness, a contrast to the emotional whirlwinds she'd faced in her classroom and beyond. Women like Leela, who've learned to hold their own in a world that often pushes them to the edge, are drawn to this kind of strength, not a suppression of feeling, but a mastery of it. Maria, the Chicago nurse, saw it in her friend Javier during a chaotic dinner date. Their waiter dropped a tray, glass shattering across the floor, and while others grumbled, Javier chuckled softly, took a breath, and said, "No big deal, let's help him out." Maria, who spent her days calming frantic patients, felt a tug in her chest. "He didn't flinch," she said. "It made me feel like I could lean on him." And Sophia, the Brooklyn artist, remembered her ex Daniel's cool head when a gallery showing went to right, plans shifted, tempers flared, but he stayed composed, rearranging with a quiet nod. Months after their split, that memory lingered, pulling her back. Stoicism teaches this control through simple, grounding practices. Mindfulness meditation, where you sit with your thoughts, deep breathing to anchor your pulse, a deliberate pause before you speak. I counseled Rosa, a chef in Phoenix, who faced a date gone wrong with Miguel. The restaurant lost their reservation, and while Rosa's frustration bubbled, Miguel inhaled slowly, smiled, and said, "We'll figure it out." That calm didn't just diffuse the tension, it wove itself into her thoughts. Women like Rosa, who fought to keep their heads above water in a demanding world, feel this strength in their bones. Imagine her world tilting, maybe she's upset, maybe the day's gone sideways. You don't match her chaos with your own. You breathe, steady yourself, and respond with care, your voice a soft tether. Honor saw this in Carlos when a storm knocked out the CIF's power. He lit candles, kept serving, his calm a quiet glow. Leela felt it when Sarah met her apology with a measured, "I'm here." Maria leaned into Javier's piece when her shift ran late. He waited, unflustered. Sophia craved Daniel's stillness when her art hit a wall he didn't push, just stood by. This isn't about being cold or distant, it's about being a rock, a presence so serene it becomes a refuge. For women who've carried heavy loads often unseen, your emotional control isn't just attractive, it's a magnetic force, a promise of stability they can't. Leadership. Leadership isn't about barking orders, it's about guiding with a steady hand, a stoic virtue that calls to women like Leela who've sought direction in a world that often leads them adrift. As a philosopher, I've seen how this quiet strength, rooted in purpose and service, becomes a beacon for women who've spent their lives lifting others, yearning for someone to lead with the same care they've given. Leela watched her sister Sarah in the classroom, a place where chaos could reign, kids restless, lessons faltering. Sarah didn't raise her voice or demand control. She moved with intention, assigning tasks with a clear, kind word, her eyes meeting each child's to show they mattered. After a falling out over family duties, Leela pulled away, but Sarah's leadership lingered in her mind. She didn't just tell them what to do, Leela said. She made them feel part of something. That pull brought her back, a longing for the sister who led not for power, but for growth. Anna saw it in Carlos too. He wasn't the CFS manager, but when a new barista struggled, he stepped in patiently, showing her the espresso machine, his voice low, encouraging. Anna, who'd grown up with no one to guide her, felt a spark. He didn't need a title, she told me. He just led. She'd spent years fending for herself, and his quiet mentorship was a balm, a strength she hadn't known she craved until he stepped back, and she missed it. Women like Anna, who've navigated life's uncertainties alone, are drawn to this, not domination, but direction. Maria felt it with Javier, her friend, who led a hospital team through a grueling night shift. Machines beeped, patients panicked, but Javier moved with purpose, assigning roles, checking in, his common thread holding them together. Maria, who'd shouldered her own burdens in silence, watched in awe. He didn't crack, she said. He carried us. When they drifted apart, that memory tugged her back. Rosa, the Phoenix chef, met Miguel leading a kitchen crew fair, firm, his hands steady as he plated dishes. He didn't yell, she said. He just knew what to do. His lead wasn't loud, but it was solid, and it stuck with her. Stoicism crafts this leadership through rational thought and service, not self-interest. It's about seeing strength, setting paths, and lifting others up. I counseled Sophia, the artist who'd seen Daniel lead an art collective not with bravado, but with a gentle nudge guiding each painter to shine. After their split, she missed that hand, not controlling, but caring. You don't lead to impress, you led to inspire, and that's what pulls her in. Women like Sophia, who fought to carve their own way, see this as a mirror to their own resilience, a strength that doesn't overshadow but elevates. Imagine her world spinning, plans unraveling, voices rising. You step in, not to take over, but to guide, your voice steady, your purpose clear. Leela felt Sarah's light when a school event faltered. Sarah rallied the team, calm and sure. Anna saw Carlos steer a busy shift, his quiet "you've got this" lifting the crew. Maria leaned on Javier when a patient crashed, he led, unflinching. Rosa watched Miguel turn a kitchen mess into order, his nod enough. This isn't about power, it's about promise, a leadership that doesn't demand but draws. For women who've led their own quiet revolutions, your steady hand isn't just attractive, it's a call to their souls, a strength they long to stand beside. Confidence. Confidence isn't a shout, it's a quiet glow, a stoic virtue that lights up a room and lingers in a woman's heart, as I've seen with Maria. As a storyteller, I've watched this calm assurance, not arrogance, but belief, become a magnet for women who fought to trust their own worth, seeking a man who mirrors their inner fire. Maria first noticed Javier in the hospital corridor, his stride sure, his eyes steady even after a long shift. They'd been friends, but when they drifted, his return hit her hard, not loud, but certain. He walked in like he knew himself, she said. I couldn't look away. Anna felt it with Carlos too. He served coffee with an ease that didn't waver, even when the line stretched out the door. After a break, she missed that glow, his quiet "I've got this" that held her steady. Women like Anna, who've pieced themselves together through doubt, are pulled to this light, not a boast but a being. Leela saw it in Sarah, teaching a room of restless kids. Sarah didn't flinch, her voice firm, her posture tall, a confidence that didn't need to prove itself. She just knew, Leela said, her return a quiet take for that strength. Rosa met Miguel in his kitchen, his hands moving with a serenity that didn't shout. He didn't need to say he was good, she told me. You could see it. His calm pull stayed with her, a man who didn't waver. Sophia, the artist, remembered Daniel's quiet nod at a gallery, his work on display, his presence unshaken. Months apart, that memory burned. Stoicism builds this through small steps, speaking up, standing tall, trusting your path. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His confidence wasn't loud, but it was deep, and she craved it. You don't puff up, you plan truths, growing into a man who knows his worth without screaming it. Women like Sophia, who've clawed their way to self-belief, see this as a mirror, a strength that doesn't need to flex but simply is. Imagine her watching you enter a room, a moment your head high, your step short. Maria felt Javier's calm when he joined her shift, no fuss, just presence. When I saw Carlos's ease through a rush, his smile steady. Leila leaned into Sarah's poise when a lesson faltered, Sarah stood sure. Rosa caught Miguel's glow, plating a dish quiet, true. This isn't about show, it's about soul, a confidence that doesn't demand but draws. For women who've built their own quiet courage, your unshaken light isn't just attractive, it's a flame they long to warm themselves by, a strength they can't turn from. Being logical. Logic isn't dry, it's a steady hand, a stoic skill that steadies women like Rosa in a world of chaos. As a linguist, I've seen how clear reason, thought not rashly, becomes an anchor for women who've spent their lives in angling life's knots, seeking a partner who can cut through the noise with clarity. Rosa faced a fight with Miguel over a missed dinner. Voices rose, but he paused, weighed his words, and said, let's figure this out together. She stayed, held by his reason, not anger, but sense. When I saw Carlos fix a CAF mix-up, customer irate, orders tangled. He didn't snap, he sorted, comment clear. He made it simple, she said, her return a quiet trust in his mind. Women like Honor, who've navigated confusion alone, lean into this role, a man who thinks, not just feels. Leila felt it with Sarah during a family clash. Tempers flared, but Sarah stepped back, breathed, and laid out a plan, fair, firm. She didn't lose it, Leila said. She found a way. That pull brought her back. Maria met Javier's logic when a shift went haywire, machines down, panic up. He assessed, decided, mood steady, smart. He didn't guess, she said. He knew. His clarity stuck with her. Sophia sawed annual plan and art show delays hit, but he mapped a fix, rational kind. She missed that mind. Stoicism hones this through discipline, pause, weigh, choose. I counseled Sophia after Daniel, his logic wasn't cold, it was caring, and she craved it. You don't react, you reason, sifting emotion for truth. Women like Sophia, who fought for clarity in a muddled world, see this as a lifeline, a strength that doesn't flail, but finds. Imagine her world blurring, choices piling, voices loud. You step in, calm, clear, your words a thread through the mess. Rosa felt Miguel's mind when plans crashed, he sorted, steady. One saw Carlos's care when a rush hit, he planned sure. Leila leaned on Sarah's reason when family faltered, Sarah mapped true. Maria caught Javier's calm when chaos reigned, he chose right. This isn't about being stiff, it's about being sure, a logic that doesn't cloud but clears. For women who wrestled with life's tangles, your reason hand isn't just attractive, it's a haven they long to hold, a strength they can't let slip. Self-discipline. Self-discipline isn't a chain, it's a fire, a stoic virtue that burns bright for women like Leila. As a philosopher, I've seen how this quiet resolve, not bending to whims, pulls in women who've held their own against life's pull, seeking a man whose strength matches their own grit. Leila watched Sarah rise at dawn, grading papers while the world slept. After a rift, that steady will lingered in her mind. She didn't slack, Leila said. She just kept going. That pull brought her back, a longing for the sister who didn't waver. When I saw Carlos's routine coffee brewed, get up practiced, no drift into late-night haze. He didn't need me to push him, she told me. She'd spent years pushing herself, and his focus was a mirror, a strength she missed when he stepped away. Maria felt it with Javier, his night spent studying charts, not scrolling screens. He stuck to it, she said, her voice soft with awe. When they drifted, that discipline tugged her back. Rosa met Miguel in his kitchen, every dish timed, every move set. He didn't cut corners, she said. His resolve hooked her, a man who didn't bend. Sophia soared annuals, a tower's canvas after canvas, no shortcuts. He kept at it, she said, her return a quiet take for that fire. Stoicism forges this through choice, goals over ease, purpose over play. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His discipline wasn't harsh, it was hot, and she craved it. You don't drift, you dig in, building a life that stands. Women like Sophia, who've clawed their way through distraction, see this as a spark, a strength that doesn't falter, but fuels. Imagine her watching you rise, work, hold fast. Leela felt Sarah's will when school loomed, Sarah prepped, steady. When I saw Carlos's way through a slow day, he honed, sure. Maria leaned on Javier's nights, he studied, true. Rosa caught Miguel's rhythm cooking set. This isn't about rules, it's about resolve, a discipline that doesn't wane but warms. For women who fought to keep their own course, your steadfast fire isn't just attractive, it's a flame they long to stand by, a strength they can't turn from. Resilience. Resilience isn't just survival, it's a rising, a stoic gift that lights on his eyes. As a storyteller, I've seen how this strength, not breaking, but growing, draws women who face their own falls, seeking a man who mirrors their own climb. On a saw Carlos lose a gig, bar close, no warning. He didn't slump, he played harder, found another spot. He didn't stop, she said, her return acquired half for his bounce. Leela felt Sarah fail, a grand hour spent, rejected. Sarah taught on, head high. She didn't quit, Leela said, her longing a pullback. Women like Leela, who've rebuilt after setbacks, love this fire, a man who doesn't fold but forges. Maria met Javier's loss, a patient gone, his hand steady. He kept going, she said, her voice thick. She stayed, inspired by his rise. Rosa saw Miguel, Benet dish flopped, he cooked again. He didn't give up, she told me, his grit a hook in her chest. Sophia watched Daniel's art flop, gallery empty, he painted more. He grew, she said, her return a craving for that strength. Stoicism thrives here, embrace, learn, rise. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His resilience wasn't tough, it was true, and she missed it. You don't crumble, you climb, turning stumbles into steps. Women like Sophia, who've patched their own cracks, see this as a flame, a strength that doesn't fade but flares. Imagine her down, you falter, then stand. On a felt Carlos's fight, when cash ran low, he busty, bold. Leela saw Sarah spark when plans crashed, Sarah built, bright. Maria leaned on Javier's when shifts broke, he healed, high. Rosa caught Miguel's rebound, kitchen chaos, he cooked up. This isn't about enduring, it's about excelling, a resilience that doesn't dim but dazzles. For women who've risen from their own ashes, your unyielding light isn't just attractive, it's a beacon they long to follow, a strength they can't leave behind. Gratitude. Gratitude isn't a word, it's a warmth, a stoic glow that melts Maria's heart. As a psychologist, I've seen how this quiet thanks, not taking, but treasuring, draws women who've given so much, seeking a man who mirrors their own grace. Maria heard Javier thank her, a late shift, a small favor. You didn't have to, he said, eyes soft. After a rift, that warmth pulled her back. Ona felt Carlos's nod, her coffee perfect, his smile real. He saw me, she said, her return acquire, take for that grace. Women like Honor, who've poured out and seen, crave this light, a man who doesn't overlook, but honors. Leela source errors, thanks kids taught her, help noted. She didn't miss it, Leela said, her voice catching. She came back, touched by that care. Rosa met Miguel's praise, her dish savored, his this is amazing truth. He meant it, she told me, his warmth a hook in her soul. Sophia felt Daniel's thanks for this, her art, his nod. He got it, she said, her longing a pull for that glow. Stoicism plants this, see what's good, say it, feel it deep. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His gratitude wasn't fake, it was felt, and she craved it. You don't grasp, you give, a strength that doesn't demand but delights. Women like Sophia, who've offered their all in silence, see this as a balm, a glow that doesn't fade but fills. Imagine her effort, you notice, thank, soft. Maria felt Javier's heart when she stayed late, he saw, spoke. When I saw Carlos's grace when she nailed a brew, he smiled, said. Leela leaned on Sarah's thanks when she pitched in. Sarah shone, sure. Rosa caught Miguel's glow, her work, his words. This isn't about show, it's about soul, a gratitude that doesn't pass but pierces. For women who've given without return, your warm light isn't just attractive, it's a hearth they long to rest by, a strength they can't let go. Emotional intelligence. Feeling isn't weakness, it's a bridge, a stoic art that binds Leela to Sarah. As a philosopher, I've seen how this depth, not just sensing, but soothing, draws women who've carried their own unseen loads, seeking a man who can meet them there. Leela cried over a lost friend. Sarah sat, listened, her arm he resolved hold. After a break, that pull brought her back. She didn't fix me, Leela said. She felt with me. On a vented bad day, tears hot Carlos heard, his rough one, a quiet hug. He got it, she told me, her return a craving for that ear. Women like honor who've masked their pain, lean into this touch, a man who doesn't rush, but reads. Maria shared a shift stole, Javier nodded, his that's heaviest Eddie bomb. He didn't push, she said, her voice soft. She stayed, safe in his feel. Rosa her to burn, a curse. Miguel knelt, his you okay, real. He cared, she said, his depth a hook. Sophia wept over a blank canvas. Daniel sat, his I see you true. He knew, she said, her longing a pull for that soul. Stoicism masters this here, the heart. Heal with calm, hold with care. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His intelligence wasn't sharp, it was soft, and she missed it. You don't solve, you sense, a strength that doesn't fix but feels. Women like Sophia who've buried their depths. See this as a bridge, a touch that doesn't break but builds. Imagine her pain, you sit, listen, soothe. Leela felt Sarah's soul when grief hit. Sarah stayed still. Ona saw Carlos's care when airs fell, he held hushed. Maria leaned on Javier's feel when exhaustion won, he heard help. Rosa caught Miguel's depth, her hurt, his hand. This isn't about speed, it's about seeing, an intelligence that doesn't cut but cradles. For women who felt alone in their storms, your gentle grasp isn't just attractive, it's a lifeline they long to cling to, a strength they can't release. Integrity? Integrity isn't a rule, it's a rock, a stoic truth that steadies Rosa's world. As a storyteller, I've seen how this unyielding stand not swaying, but staying draws women who face their own betrayals, seeking a man whose core mirrors their own fight for trust. Rosa saw Miguel refuse a shortcut Cash offered, his no, we do it right firm. He didn't bend, she said, her stay a quiet trust in his code. Ona felt Carlos's were day shift promised, kept. He didn't flake, she told me, her return of faith in his spine. Women like Honor who've been let down need this stone, a man who doesn't shift but stands. Leela caught Sarah's no, a favor asked, her can't, it's wrong, true. She didn't waver, Leela said, her voice steady. She came back, sure of that strength. Maria met Javier's stand, a patient pushed, his retreat all real. He didn't budge, she said, his pull his steel. Sophia sawed Daniel's truth and art deal skewed his not like this clear. He stayed him, she said, her longing a crave for that root. Stoicism lives this act as you are, be as you mean, stay as you vow. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His integrity wasn't loud, it was loud, and she missed it. You don't twist, you tower, a strength that doesn't sway but supports. Women like Sophia, who've rebuilt trust from shards, see this as a shield daced, and that doesn't crack but covers. Imagine head out, you hold true your word a wall. Rosa felt Miguel's call when temptation hit, he stood solid. Ona saw Carlos's oath when chaos called, he kept calm. Leela leaned on Sarah's truth when lines blurred, Sarah held high. Maria caught Javier's steel pressure rose, he stayed straight. This isn't about pride, it's about principle, an integrity that doesn't falter but fortifies. For women who face the fickle, your unshaken rock isn't just attractive, it's a refuge they long to rest in, a strength they can't leave. Clear communication. Words aren't noise, they're a bond, a stoic skill that ties Maria to Javier. As a linguist, I've seen how this clarity, not just talk, but touch, draws women who've strained to be heard, seeking a man who can meet them with a voice that resonates their own. Maria spoke of a tough shift, Javier listened, his that sounds rough, clear, kind. After silence that pulled her back. He didn't guess, she said. He got me. On a shared a dream, CF hers, Carlos nodded, his tell me more soft, sure. He heard, she told me, her return a craving for that sound. Women like Honor who've whispered into voids love this linear, a man who doesn't mumble but means. Leela told Sarah fear kids lost, her fault. Sarah listened, her you're enough, true, warm. She didn't brush it, Leela said, her voice catching. She returned, heard by that care. Rosa asked Miguel, a hope kitchen hers, he answered, his I see it calm, real. He spoke me, she said, his voice a hook in her chest. Sophia wept over art, Daniel sat, his I'm with you clear, deep. He said it, she said, her longing a pull for that echo. Stoicism hones this European, mouth measured, heart honest. I counseled Sophia after Daniel. His communication wasn't vague, it was vivid, and she craved it. You don't cloud, you clarify, a strength that doesn't drift but delivers. Women like Sophia, who've shouted to be seen, see this as a song, a voice that doesn't fade but finds. Imagine her words you hear, speak, clear. Maria felt Javier's care when she spilled, he listened, laid it out. Ona saw Carlos's clarity when she dreamed, he asked, answered. Leila leaned on Sarah's voice when doubt hit, Sarah spoke, sure. Rosa caught Miguel's call, her hope, his yes. This isn't about volume, it's about value, a communication that doesn't miss but meets. For women who've strained through silence, your clear chord isn't just attractive, it's a harmony they long to hum, a strength they can't mute.